actually did microbiology in my undergraduate. And while doing that, I realized that microbiology in Nigeria is totally useless. Yeah, I said it. It is useless. Career to study the course I wanted. Yeah, so the first semester was kind of tough, getting there, knowing nobody, of course, just my professor. Then I met one of my Korean classmates who actually helped, settling down in Korea. I was in the dormitory. I had no society. I knew no African, no one. So just me, the class, then trying to get used to the food. My professor kind of likes this thing. It wasn't every time, of course, but there are some times that they take us out to eat in the evening, probably after research, and mostly it's always after we are done with our main research, we've submitted the report and we're a little bit free. Sometimes they organize a day or 2 days vacation for us. You go to another city where we just lodge, enjoy
Welcome to Research and Survey. My name is Tamodu, and today we'll be discussing research stories and lifestyle. So with me here in the studio, we have Miss Betty. Miss Betty, welcome to Research and Survey.
Thank you.
And then we would like to get to know you. So can you give us a background of your master's study?
Okay. Where do I start? I actually did microbiology in my undergraduate. And while doing that, I realized that microbiology in Nigeria is totally useless. Yeah, I said it. It is useless. So thinking okay, after school, what next? I definitely knew I was going to do my master's, but I was confused as to what will I do. So I decided, okay, I didn't just decide, talking with colleagues, exchanging ideas, and it came to me, forensic science. Okay, yeah. So I started my, research on that, searched for schools that, do offer that course, then, narrow my area to where I wanted it to be. I wanted to go to India. Okay, I wasn't sure which country, but I knew I wanted to go to an Asian country. I was so sure that I wanted an Asian country.
Interesting.
I wanted either India or South Korea, but I wasn't sure which. So I applied to schools in both countries, and I actually got admission in India. But researching and doing it, I was like, do I really want to go to India and everything? So when I got admission to South Korea, I was like, good. Yeah, South Korea it is then. So I chose the school in South Korea offering legal informatics and forensic science. That's the forensic science dealing in legal aspects. So I was like, okay, yeah, this is interesting. I would love to do this. Though I didn't have much background about the studies, but I was lucky to meet a good supervisor who put me through, and I'm grateful, Joshua.
Oh, well, I say you're very lucky. You have a direction. I must say, many don't have such direction where they're going, but that was good on your part. Also, we would like you to describe your weekly routine during your master's research. I believe this will help our audience.
Okay. I went as a self-sponsored student. So the first semester was kind of tough.
Let me come in here. Self-sponsored refers to you. You are not on scholarship
At all.
You're the one paying for your school fees. Okay, you can go ahead.
Yeah. Then of course things were still better in Nigeria. My dad could afford it, so yeah, sent me to South Korea to study the course I wanted. Yeah, so the first semester was kind of tough, getting there, knowing nobody, of course, just my professor. Then I met one of my Korean classmates who actually helped, settling down in Korea. I was in the dormitory. I had no society. I knew no African, no one. So just me, the class, then trying to get used to the food, the environment and everything. It was kind of tough, and I I can say I was almost depressed. Let me put it that way because it's not easy, you know. All I did was, you know, in the morning, wake up, and my class is always in the afternoon. That's the funny thing. Like, then you sleep, wake up, try to get something to eat in the morning, eat your breakfast. Then even most times I miss breakfast because it's not like I'm going anywhere important, just my classes in the afternoon. So I wake up late, just take lunch, go to class, come back to the hostel where I know nobody. Come back to the hostel, sleep, rest, then you go out in the night, you know, to get dinner or something. And it was tough. It was really tough. But gradually, through I think it was through one of the students in the school then, she's Chinese. Yeah. She's also a church goer like I was. Then she kind of introduced me to, no, she wasn't the one actually. It was my classmates that were Ethiopians. They were like, oh, they met a Chinese girl that goes to church because they. I told them like if they find a church for me, they should let me know.
Okay, can you hold on there? I believe you're about to talk about the turning point. So before that turning point, will you say it was lonely?
It was deadly lonely because let me say I'm not like I don't like I really like going out, but even though I don't go out, I'm a people's person. I like kind of like interacting with people, and that was why I actually like went for that kind of course. Because of course I could have gone for like the laboratory forensic science. That I did microbiology, I could have done that, but you know, interacting with people was something I love to do. So I went for the law aspect. It was really tough. Yeah, it wasn't easy.
So the turning point, what was the turning point now?
So of course, when I got to the school, met my classmates, I told them, "Oh, please, if you find the church, let me know." Because of course, Ethiopians they have like Christians too there. So like, oh, they met a girl who is Chinese who introduced them to like an African international community church. Like, oh, that's good. Please, when you find her, let me know. So I think after like 3 weeks, they met the lady. Of course, you guys won't see yourself every day in the school. There are so many students. So they met the lady, then got a contact, then you know shared a contact with me, and that was how we got talking. Oh, Kelly, I love you so much. You're the best. Yeah. So she introduced me to the church. Then I joined the choir in the church, and that made my weekend, you know, full of activities. The church was lovely. Harvest Time International Church. God bless you. God bless the pastor and everyone there. Yeah.
You're saying Monday to Friday might be very lonely. Then on Saturday, where you get to meet with the church choir, there's a lot of activities. And
Just not just Monday to Friday, not just weekends. Like the church had like activities for students during the week. They were like in my the city where I studied. There were like two campuses. So the first one is my school, Alim University. The other one is Common there. They have like their students what's it called, fellowship. So I think Tuesday is for my school, or Tuesday or Thursday. I've forgotten. It's been a long time. Tuesday or Thursday for Tuesday, Thursday. One of the schools take them. Like sometimes you can go to like if you're free, you can join the other campus. It's not very far from my campus. Join them for the activities. You can go back to your school and you know.
if I come in there, we can say maybe what actually resort to this level of loneliness is that studying abroad, sometimes you have, as an African person, you have fewer African communities there. So to relate with other people sometimes look difficult because of different cultural background.
And even the
Will you say the
language.
language also?
Yeah, the
Emphasis.
language.
Okay, it's on the language. So to remove any loneliness, you need to be part of a particular community where you can engage in activities. I see that. Okay, let's.
Then sorry, before you come in, I had like a roommate who understood English a little bit. She was like really nice. At least for the first month that I didn't know anyone, she was one that was like taking me around, take me to like the market in the city, take me to like stores, introduce me to Korean food. She was a really nice person. Yeah.
So we see you studied in Korea, which there are language differences. You're coming from English background, and you are in a country where they don't speak much of English. Let me move to my next question. Can you maybe you've talked a little about this enjoyable moment during your research? Can you share just a summary of your enjoyable moment during your research?
My professor kind of like likes this thing. It's not. It wasn't every time, of course, but there are some times that they take us out to eat in the evening, probably after like research, and mostly it's always like after we are done with like our main research, like we've submitted the report and we're a little bit free. Sometimes they like organize like a day or 2 days vacation for us. You go to like another city where we just lodge, like enjoy ourselves, go swimming and so many things. And of course, the church too organizes a lot of activities where they take us to other cities. You see like festivals, they take you out where like of course, sometimes they take you like enjoy the food, meet new people, meet new church members in other churches. It was fun, like having a community to like relate with. And my professor was American. I think he really understood the fact that his students might feel depressed and lonely, so he kind of like organizes things like that. And people in the laboratory too. Our laboratory was English speaking, so your
That will
classmates
give
would,
you
yeah,
another relief there.
yeah. So they speak English. Even some don't really understand, but at least you can communicate easily with them. Like you don't have to speak big grammars. Like sometimes you have that in Nigeria. People say they speak like in big grammars that you don't really understand. But yeah, it's easy to communicate with them, and yeah, having that kind of community, like going out to people, expressing new things. And my library sometimes you have like conferences where you go out, meet other international communities in the conference, and yeah, those things were like enjoyable and fun.
So we can say that a level of socialization got
Yeah,
improved.
yeah,
Moving out, get to meet other persons, other students from different countries. You get to
yeah.
learn many things also. So, what were the stressful or sad moments you encountered during your research study as a master student?
Okay. After my first semester, my professor, like, I was the only student that was self-sponsored in my laboratory then. So he kind of like, okay, he invited me to his office. Then I was like, am I interested in like joining a research that is working on that the school will pay my fees and I'll get stipend per month. Of course, who wouldn't like that? Who wouldn't like that offer? Of course. I was like, yeah, sure. That's like a huge relief on my neck, on my father's neck. You don't have to pay like, and again, then sending money from Nigeria was really tough and difficult. So yeah, that was like another turning point for me. I was like, yeah, that's good. I'm interested. Then he registered me, and mostly in Korea, if you're a laboratory student, like if you're being sponsored by your professor or the school, it's like all your days you have to stay in the laboratory. But luckily for the kind of professor I met, it was like if you come to the laboratory by 8, latest 5, 6, you can leave. You have other things. Your life shouldn't be in the laboratory.
That is unusual.
Yeah, yeah, I know. People say that, but it was totally different. It's this kind of person that
Where is the level of stress coming in there?
the stress was, when we have like a deadline, and sometimes you've been in the laboratory since morning, and you still have to be there till midnight. Even we've actually worked overnight till like I think 4 a.m. before, because we had to meet the deadline and submit to the company that gave us the project. So then, so many things. Of course, I'm new to that area. I'm not really into like all those coding stuff, but the things I could do, they'll give me the research, you do, you work. But it was also fun. It was stressful, but it was fun, when you do something you love. The stress really isn't really, you won't really consider that as stress.
Okay. Thank you for those information. Then I would also like to know what was the role of your supervisor. And before that, okay, let me quickly ask these questions. I know our viewers will be interested in this. As a self-sponsored student, how did you survive throughout your research period?
Um, as a self-sponsored before I became sponsored by my professor. Yeah, my dad sends money, and luckily then the Chinese lady I met, Kelly, she teaches English. So she introduced me to like the schools where she teach. Like, okay, yeah, the little money you can get, you get. Then people that I met in the church, I had like a British friend, Claudia. She also like knows like all this English academy where you can teach, during the vacation, introduces me to them. And the church where I go, they have like connections with other churches. And those Korean churches organize like this like winter break section for their members, their students, English teaching, where you can teach and you get like really little
You
stipend. And
engage in
yeah, I had to
some
do that,
extra
of
work
course.
to do. Okay,
Yeah,
I
I had
see.
to do that.
Part-time jobs to do, and
Yeah,
getting those part-time jobs, you need connections.
you
Somebody need a
definitely need
referral, like a
connection.
referral.
Yeah,
Somebody has to refer you.
in Korea,
Now,
definitely it's
I
important.
could notice that most of your connections links to the church.
Yeah.
For somebody who doesn't go to church, or who is not a Christian, so what would you say? How would they survive?
Some of them had to do that through there's this I've forgotten the website, something glass something. Yeah, you can check online. Korean have like these applications where you can look for available jobs. But of course, it's easier through connection because you don't even have to apply. You don't have to do interviews. Yeah. So yeah.
I see that. So, yeah, thank you for all the stories you've shared with us today. What would be your advice for somebody who wants to study for a master's degree abroad? Probably in a worst case scenario, where that person, yes, where that person has no idea about how to get started, what is to come across along the line. So what in just few seconds, can you
Yeah.
just give a summary on that advice?
To make it easier for you, you have to definitely know the course. Even though you've not like narrowed down the area you want to specify in, you have to know the course where you wish to study, so you can find schools that offer those courses. And there are also a lot of courses that are like the wide range. Some schools offer them as like a specific area, and you have to know the country you want, or maybe like the countries that you are interested in, even though it's not just one or two. So you can apply to the schools that are there. And if you want to be like from what I've experience from like my friends, if you want to be like a professor sponsored or school sponsored, you have to like be familiar with your professor. It's really important.
So you
Yeah,
must
you
have
have
a
to create that
good
relationship.
relationship with your
Yeah, you have to create that relationship. That
relationship
really helped me a lot here.
to survive there.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you, Miss Betty, for having you on our show today. And I forgot one question there. Okay, I asked that question earlier on, that what was the role of your professor? What role did your professor played in your research, the success of your research? Because we've had instances where maybe the professor is not forthcoming, the student has to struggle a lot, and we've had instances where the professor was forthcoming as well, giving some helps here and there. So, what was the role of your professor in contributing to the success of your research?
How would I put it? It was easier because of the kind of professor I had in my undergraduate. It's the kind of professor whereby after you finish a particular chapter, you go to him and he checks your what you've written, your project. Like in fact, it was kind of person like you guys do it together. Yeah, yeah, you go through it, then you will tell you, okay, this change. Then the next step, you guys will discuss it, and you go work on it. So my master's professor it was someone like that, but because of the experience I've had, he even told me like I actually taught him a lot. Cause yeah, that was what he told me. He told me I taught him a lot, and how we related really helped those who came after me. Yeah. So every week he made like an application where you set an appointment with him at least once a week. So where you go into when you check his schedule, where okay, he's free today, let me go to him, check his schedule, go for an appointment, sit down, you guys will discuss what you've done so far, the next steps, the problems you're having, how you can solve it. So it was like it was there every step of the way. And the way I was the only student who actually like kept to my schedule once every week. Some of them didn't really care. Of course, they knew the course more than I do, so it was really a big deal for them. But it was a big deal for me because, of course, I wanted to graduate. Yeah, so
So will you say it was very helpful?
yeah, it was very helpful.
We have some other students who they as part of their research, their experiment they do in the lab. So during this, did you execute any experiment along the line? And was your supervisor able to contribute, guiding you through the process?
Even in the laboratory before like the final project or thesis, he was always there. We have meetings at least once or twice every week. So he did something. He divided everyone in the laboratory into like three groups, where we had like a group leader. A group leader was someone that knew the course very well. So every week, the project you had, you come together, you discuss it. Then once a week, he would be there with everyone to go through the project we've done, the next step. Okay, this is the problem you're having. Go through that solution and things like that. So, and again, he did something every Friday before you close for the week. You have to present. You have to make a presentation on everything you've done for that week. So it was like, during the week, you do a meeting of what you're doing so far, next step. He meets you guys, prefer solution to your problems. Then at the end of the week, you present what you've done and what you will do next week. So that kind of it helped us and gave us direction with our projects.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see. So, Miss Betty, thank you for being on our show.
Yeah.
So, I will wrap up all what you've said today.
Yeah,
That
sure.
for our viewers, that the road for master research can be lonely sometimes when you're in a
Yeah.
foreign country. So you need to socialize or
Very
belong to a
important.
particular community where you get to attend some event that will boost your energy.
Yeah,
there.
really
And then
important.
for you to succeed in your research and graduate on time, you need good communication, be in good rapport with your professor,
Yeah, very
and everything will
important.
work well.
Yeah.
So thank you for coming to our show.
You're welcome.
We're grateful. So viewers, thank you. This is where we end it. Please subscribe to our channel, Research and Survey. Please subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Cheers.